Good morning. Welcome back to our class in computer programming using Python. And today we will learn how to create functions in Python and modules in Python. Okay, to start with, let me open my Anaconda. So this time I will be using the Anaconda application. This is good for data science. So okay, now let me Okay, now this is my Anaconda Navigator and I will choose now this Jupyter notebook. And later on, we will test our function using PyCharm. Okay, now let me open my Jupyter notebook by clicking the launch button here. Now, so this is my Jupyter notebook in the launch button. Now I will create a folder in my desktop. Now, let me erase this part first. Now, this is my desktop. Now, let me zoom this one. Okay. Let me zoom this for a while. This is a new folder. I will name my folder as functions. Okay. Functions and modules. Because this will be our topic. Okay. Alright. So this is my folder functions and modules. We will be saving our module here later on. Okay. And now let's start now by opening our Jupyter um, notebook. So this is my Jupyter notebook. If you can see here, no, in the desktop folder, you can see here the functions and module folder, which we have created a while ago. So this is my function and modules. Now, if I will click new here, okay, if I will click new here, let me zoom. No? So I will click new and then click Python 3. So this is my Jupyter notebook. All right. Okay. Now, first, now we will create a function. Now, so what are these functions? So function is an easy way. No, it's actually a representation of a program, part of the program. So that is a function. Like for example, no, let me have this example. A create a function no, that calculates the area, let's say the area of a circle. So this is my function. So the function, this is the syntax for our function. So the syntax for our function is, let me uh, create a syntax here. So this is my function. So your function will start with def. So define a function. So that is def, and then the name of your function. Let's say my name of my function is area underscore circle. So this is my area underscore circle. Now, inside this parentheses, no, is the argument. Like for example, if you want what is in the area of the circle, what variables can you find there? Now, in my case, I will be using the variable radius. So meaning to say, if you will use this function area, okay, you will also input the radius of um, the radius, the value of the radius. So this is your function. Now, after that, you have to type the formula for calculating the area of the circle. Like for example, I will label my area as A, and the area of the circle is pi r squared. So I will be using the math module, that is m.pi. This is math module. So of course, you have to define your math module when creating a function. So this is now m.pi, and then I have here radius. Okay, that's my variable raised to the power of 2. And after that, no, I will return the value of the area. So this is the return value. So every time now you um, use this formula, you use function, you can have a return value. Okay, so functions can have return value or you may not. Okay, it's your choice. Now, but in my case, now every time I type radius or area of the circle, it will return the value of the area. Okay, okay, that's how it works. Okay, now let's start our program here. Now first, now we will create a function. Okay, def. So let's copy that one. Area of the circle, and then my variable is radius. Okay, and don't forget the colon. And I will write the equation for the area. In this case, m dot pi. Take note, that is your math module, so you have to define it. Uh, your math module, you have to define your math module. You have to import it. So import, okay, import math as m. So let me import math as m, and then we will calculate. We'll multiply the pi with the radius of the square of the radius of the circle. So this is how you write the square of the radius of the circle. And of course, now after calculating the area, we are going to return the value of a. Like for example, okay, let me again add, uh, try, calculate, try this. Okay, calculate. Okay, okay, let's try. Let me just use this part first. Okay, calculate calculate the area of the circle of radius, let's say radius 10. Now, to calculate the area of the circle now of radius 10, now you don't need to type now this formula. Okay? Now all you have to do is just use this function since it is defined here. So this is now your area underscore circle. Okay, and then plug in the value of the radius. So take note, 10 here is the radius. Okay, so you have to plug in the value of the radius of the circle. So press enter. Okay, area of circle is not defined, so you have to run this first. Okay? You have to run the first part and then run this second part. So therefore, the area is 314.15. So take note, you need to run the module first now before um, using it. Okay, in this case, now you have to run the function first before using the function here. So let me try another area. So let's say calculate the area of the circle of diameter, uh, let's say 15 meters. Okay, so in this case, now since we are given diameter of 15 meters, now we can solve that by dividing the diameter by 2. So let's say area of the circle, this is the diameter divided by 2, then you have your area. So the area now is 176.71. So that's how you use your functions. Okay, so you don't, if now you are using this formula multiple times, no, it's right, no, it is the best practice, no, it is a good practice, no, since you will be using this a lot of time, no, it is a good practice to create your own function. So that's how you create your own function. So let me have another example here. So since we have the area of the circle, now let's try to create, okay, create a function that calculates, okay, the area, Okay, we have here the area of the rectangle. Okay. Now, so for our next problem, we are going to create a function that calculates the area of the rectangle. Of course, no? If you will create this function, so we will name this function as area underscore rectangle. Okay, and take note, what are the parameters inside the rectangle? Now, it might be the width and the length. Okay, so that will be your parameters that you will be using. And then create an equation now that will solve for the area of the rectangle. So in this case, this is just the width multiplied by the length. And of course, no, don't forget to have a return value. So in this case, we will return the value of the area once this function no, is called. Okay. Before using this function, we need to run this code first, and then let's try. No, assuming now calculate the area of a rectangle having dimension of let's say 10 by 20. Okay, so we will calculate the area of the rectangle with a dimension of 10 by 20. So take note, no, I will be reserving this space for my calculation later on. Okay. Now, since we have this function, we can now call the function by typing it area rectangle and plug in the dimensions of the rectangle. So you have your width, which is 10, and the length, which is 20. And then press enter, then you have the area, which is equal to 200. Now, if you want to change the dimension, let's say, let's calculate the area of the rectangle with this dimension, 200 by 800. Okay, so press enter, then you have your area of the rectangle. Now let's have another one. Okay, so assuming now let's create a function that calculates the area of the square. Okay, now let's define our function here. So define the function, let's say area underscore square, and what parameters now are we going to use now to solve the area of the square? Of course, now the length of the side. So let's call this one your side. Okay, and the area is just side squared, right? So that's how you calculate the area of the square. So, and after creating the equation, all you need to do is to return the value of that area. So press run now to activate this function. Now we can now call on the area of the square, assuming now we will calculate, let's say, calculate the area of the square no, with the dimension of 20 by 20. So calculate the area, just call the function area underscore square. This is our function, and then plug in the length of the side. So that's 20. So take note, now if you will plug in 20 by 20, no, it will not be, it will be an error. Okay, it will prompt an error. So this is a type error. So when you say type error, no, maybe your arguments is more than one. So since now according to the function here, your argument or the parameters inside that you use is only one, so you need only one argument. So run the code, and then that is now your area of the circle or the square. Okay, now that's it. Now that's how you create your own function. So it is simpler compared to creating a function is the same as creating a program now for Python. Okay. Now this time now we will create a module. Okay. So by combining all of these three functions that we have created, we can now create a module. So to start creating our module, let me open my text editor. So in this case now I will be using the Sublime Text. This is my text editor. So I will put it here side by side now with my Python Jupyter. Now I will copy. So since I will be using this math module, so I will copy. Okay. So take note of the text here. Now it's white. No, because no, this is not yet saved. No, saved to with an extension of Python. Now once we will be saving this one, let's say I will save this. Let me save this. No, save as. Then I will prompt to the directory. No, in this case in the desktop, and in the module in the functions in module folder. So I will be saving this to my name, my module name. So let's say my module. So I will name this as my module.py. So every time you will use the functions here, you will call on your module. So once you press save, no, the text, the color here will change. Okay, this is now the text color since now it is understood that this is your Python code. Okay, what happened here? Okay, delete, not delete. Oh, what happened here? Okay, this is now my module. Alright, so next, now we are going to copy now another module here, this time the area of the rectangle. So copy, and we will combine all of the modules. The three modules now will be combined in the three functions, I mean, now will be combined in this one module. So this is now my module, okay, with three functions on it. No, this time no, I will erase now all of this. I will erase this one. I will delete all of this to start a new Python notebook. So I will save this one. I will save this. So take note, no? This is now inside now the working folder now in our Python. To use this module, we need to call on the Python module. Let's try. So let's create a problem first. No, okay. Problem number one. Solve. Okay. Solve the area of the following. So I have here number one. Let's say number one. Area of square. Now, with the dimension of let's say 100 by 100. Number two, let's say area of the rectangle, okay, with the dimension of let's say rectangle, let's say 20 by 50, and the last one will be the area of the circle with the dimension of with the radius, I mean, with the radius of let's say 100. Okay, now this is our problem. The next thing that we will do is to call on the module that we have created. So we will import the module. So import. No? Take note of the file name of the module, my module. So my module under my underscore module. So import my module. Okay. So you can also use this one, or you may call this import my module as my. Okay, my. Let's say my. Okay, so if you are going to use the functions inside the module, you have to add my. So take note. Now let me solve the first problem. So area of the square. So you can say my dot area underscore square. Okay, with the dimension of 100. So we can now print all of this. Now let's add print function here so that it will print the area. So let's just name this now the area of the square is okay, oh, comma my area. Okay, my area underscore square. So let's copy this one and this one. So that now we can now change. We can now solve the problem. Let's say number one. This is for number one. This is for number two, and this is for number three problem. So square. This is my square. So the area of the rectangle. Okay, rectangle. So you can change this to rectangle. So rectangle with the dimension of, let's say, 20 by 50. Okay, and the last one will be the area of the circle. Okay, with a radius of 100. So I will change this to circle. Now, the area of the circle is, take note, this is my module. If I run this module, it will print all the area. So the area of the square is 10,000. The area of the rectangle, so this is rectangle, is 1,000 also. And the area of the circle is 31,450. So that's how you create your own um, math module. Okay. Now let's try another way of calling the module. So in this case, I will import my module. So okay, let's try import. Okay, let's say you will call the module from my module. We are going to import everything. Okay, everything is as this. So we can now copy this one, paste it here. This time, I will not be using my. I will just use the name of the functions I have created in the module. Since now we have imported everything. Okay, so in this case, I will just be using area without my. Okay, this is using my, and this one is just using the name of the function. Let's try. Run the code. It will have the same output. Okay. All right. Now, so this will be the the last problem that we will be creating for today. Okay, I will create another problem here. So create a module that solves create a module, okay, um, that calculates the sum, difference, product, and quotient. No. Okay. And quotient of two numbers, A and B. Okay. So we will create a module that calculates the sum, the difference, the product, and the quotient of two numbers. All right. Now, so how are we going to do that? Now, instead of creating in my Jupyter notebook, let's just create here now uh, in my text editor. So in this case now I will be creating a new module. So I will name this module. I will name this module as um, simple math. Okay, simple math.py. Okay. So of course now you will save this module in the in the folder that you are working in this function and module. Okay, now so this is now my simple math module. So I will create my first module. Now let's define our first module as add. Okay, let's use small letter. So add a b. So that will be our first module. So a here now is the first number, b is the second number. So we can say sum now equals to a plus b. And then we are going to return the value of the sum. Okay, that will be our first function. Now our second function is the difference. So difference. So I will be using difference, okay, and a and b. So take note. No, we will just use the difference here. So meaning to say, um, the value should always be positive. Okay. Anyway, no, let's just take the difference of two numbers. Let's say I will use diff now equals to a minus b. Okay, and then I will return the value of difference. Okay. Okay. Now, for our next function, we are going to calculate the product. So this is the product of a and b. Okay. Now, let's create an equation for the product a times b, and then we will return the value of the product. Okay. Now our next, the last function is the quotient. So we have the quotient of a and b. Okay, and we will return, okay, the value of the quotient. So a and b, then return quotient. All right. So this is now my module, simple math module. Okay. Let me save this one, and then we will call our module the simple math module. So import, okay, um, simple, okay, simple math, okay, as sm, simple math as sm. Okay. Now, let's add two numbers. So you can call on sm, then add two numbers. Let's say we will add 45 and 35. So you can just call sm. That's the name of my simple math module, and then use the function add here. The function add, now it requires you two arguments, a and b. So this is your a and b, and then press enter. You will have the sum of a and b. It will return the sum of a and b. Okay. All right. Now let's try another one. So sm that difference. So in this case now, this is, let's say, 90 and 50. Okay. So I will print the two values. So I will put print function. I will use print function here. Oh, print, because I will be printing the two values here. So press enter, run the code. So the first number here is the sum, okay, and the second number here will be the difference of two numbers. Now let's add another one. So let's say sm dot product. So we are going to calculate the product of 3 and 2 and then display it. So 3 and 2 is 6. That's the product of two numbers. Okay. So print sm that, let's solve for the quotient. Okay. Quotient of two numbers, let's say 120. So the quotient of two numbers, no, is 5. So take note, no, quotient of two numbers, no, is always float. This is a floating number. Okay, it will result always to a floating number. All right. So that's it, no, for our lesson for today. No, how to create functions and how to uh, package your function into a single module. So I hope you've learned something from my short discussion, and I hope to see you in my next lecture video.